Hey, shalom, 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 shalom. Is Gadol, Ha Gadol, the prolific one. First and foremost, I want to give all praise and glory to the God of our forefathers, to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Right. So if you ain't subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel right now. Right. Subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button. Hit the like button. All praise to the Most High. Right. But I wanted to react to this clubhouse conversation between Drey and Yoshi. Right. I wanted to react to that, just listen to it, see what I have. Yoshi sent it to me, so I wanted to react to it. So I ain't gonna do I don't do all this talking. So let's get right into it. Let's bring it up here. Um all right, so 35. Let's pull it up, man.
Yeah, so I think, see, the interruptions that he's doing now lets you know why he's asking me questions that I answered then. He's not interested in learning. He doesn't want to know. Okay. So I never told him that Isaiah 53 is not part of the Tanakh. I said it's not a part of the Torah reading. Jews, again, I'm going to say this one more time. I'm going to get off the mic. Jews, we don't read the entire Tanakh. We read the Torah, which takes us 52 weeks of the year. And during that reading, there are certain prophetic passages that are associated with it because they're thematically related. And it's only about 5% of all the prophets. About 5% of all them. And when I mean 5%, I don't mean books in its entirety. I mean passages. And Isaiah 53 has never been that. And this is since 200 BCE. So please don't walk away thinking what he thinks is right because it's easily verifiable.
So
Pure
yeah,
and simple. Yes, sir.
Well, I ain't even have to be. I'm gonna be honest. I ain't even have to be there for that conversation. But I know for sure Yoshi didn't say Isaiah is not in the Tanakh. So yeah, I don't know. That's crazy.
let me ask you this, because I'm familiar with what you're referring to as it pertains to that, but I do want to ask you this based on you mentioned Isaiah 10, 5, and 6. You mentioned as far as that was what was done to the northern kingdom by the Assyrians. Now, who was the king of the northern kingdom at that time?
No. So the reason why I'm saying no is because I think you not understanding the point that I was illustrating.
Go ahead.
The point what I was illustrating was not to say that they came against Solomon. The point that I was illustrating that if you go read, let's see, Isaiah 10 and 5, listen to what it reads right here, 10 and 5. This is the reason why I went here to substantiate this right here. O Assyrian, the rod of my anger. See, and the staff in their hand is my indignation. I went here to substantiate that when Solomon was to be punished with the rod of men, it does not necessitate a literal man with a literal rod beating on his literal body. It can mean a nation that's being brought against him as a result of his sin. That's why I went here.
No, I know, and I know. That's why I'm asking you though, because even in that time, the people was taken from Hoshea. He ultimately, even the king Hoshea.
I'm not saying Assyria came against Solomon. I'm saying Hadad the Edomite is the one that was bothering Solomon and disturbing that peace.
Right, I understand that's what what some texts imply, but there is no text that say nobody did nothing to Solomon. There are texts that imply that the Lord raised up the Edomite Hadad. There is no text. There's some verses that say Solomon had peace all around all his days of his life. So even to use this in the time of Solomon, there's no text to say nobody did anything to Solomon. I get what you're saying.
All right, so if y'all not following, they're talking about 2 Samuel chapter 7. Right, 2 Samuel chapter 7. Let me go read it real fast. Let's pull that up real fast. 2 Samuel chapter 7. Right, they're talking about this verse right here. When it says verse, hold up, I got it. 2 Samuel, I think it's verse 15. All right, yeah, verse 14. Let me put this over here. Right, it says, verse 14, it says, I will be his father, he shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men and with the stripes of the children of men. Right. So this is talking about when David was promised a seed from his loins that will build the house. Right. So, you know, Christians say, oh, this is about JC and blah blah blah. Right. Yoshi is pointing out that the rod, when it says chasten him with the rod, that's not literally talking about someone getting hit with a rod. It's talking about the Most High bringing a nation against you, right? Just like the Assyrians were the rod he used to bring his wrath against the children of Israel, right? Both kingdoms, Judah and the northern kingdom, right? So this is the conversation, just for the people that may not be aware. That's what they have. That's what they're talking about.
It says an enemy was raised up against him. Where do we read about that enemy doing anything to him? Because you even admitted yourself, nothing happened to the nation till he was dead. So what did that king Edom do to Solomon in his time period? Because in this example, this affected King Hoshea and the people under him, is what I'm saying. So I agree that the rod can be a nation being brought up against you. I agree with that. But I'm saying in the example that you gave,
so he said he agrees that the rod can be a nation being brought up against you. If you agree, you're done right there. Because the Most High said, if you sin, I will chasten you with the rod of men. When King Solomon sinned, the Most High brought two nations against him. That's it. And it sounds like he's trying to make an argument that they had to literally do something to Solomon's body. That's horrible. And I had this conversation with Drey before, and it was horrible when we had it. With Drey's my man, though. I rock with Drey, but this is a horrible hill to unalive on.
A nation came up against him, and those people were affected in his time period, and he was affected. That ain't what took place with Solomon. We can't really read about nothing verbatim happening in Solomon, which is why I agree with you and others on the stage.
That's not true. If enemies are raised against your kingdom, that's something happening to you. It's your kingdom. They're coming against your kingdom. How was that not something happening to you? What he want to see is something happening to Solomon's body, him getting whipped or hit like JC.
Things happened after Solomon was dead. So when we say, okay, this is an example of that, how does that apply in Solomon's time period when we see nobody did anything to Solomon, nor was the kingdom rent from him in his days? But the text in the Samuel that y'all are referring to, and I understand both sides, I get it. It's like being at work a consumer and then somebody working as far as for the banking side. I get it. But there's nothing that says anybody verbatim did enemy was raised up against them. Where does that text imply that the enemy was successful in doing anything to Solomon? Because if we really want to be honest, the text,
it doesn't say it. It doesn't say when he means successful. He means like they capture or do some harm to Solomon's body. Does not say that, but they definitely was successful in doing what the Most High wanted them to do: cause mischief, cause havoc, cause trouble, and ruining Solomon's peace. When he was keeping the laws of God, he got peace. But Solomon going against God, that caused God to raise up enemies against him. Right? He's struggling with the text, trying to make it like something literally had to happen to Solomon's flesh. No, nothing had to happen to Solomon's flesh, but enemies being raised up against his kingdom is doing something to Solomon.
Text suggests that nothing happened to Solomon died, but that's not what 1 Samuel 7 or 2 Samuel 7 implies. It says Solomon will be chastened with the rod of men. So we would need to see, I'm asking, where do we see Solomon, let's say the nation even being chastened with the rod of men in his time period? Because that wouldn't apply the same way Isaiah 10, 5, and 6 do.
That says if you're only, Drey, if you're only honest with the text.
No, I'm not saying
the only way to work.
No, I'm not saying nobody's being dishonest. I understand the argumentation on both sides. So that's why I'm asking here. If this is that's the only reason. That's why I want to hear Brother Sapp, because if this is the argumentation we use, nothing happened to Solomon nor the people in his time. So if we can't,
that is not true. Let's go read this real fast. 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 Can I put this over here? Yeah, let's put this over here. Let's read this real fast. Look what this says. It says, and God was angry with Solomon because his heart was turned from the Lord, the God of Israel, which appeared to him twice and commanded him concerning this thing, that he should not go after other gods. But he kept not that which the Lord commanded him. Wherefore the Lord said unto Solomon, for as much as this is done of thee, and thou hast not kept my covenant and my statutes, which I have commanded thee, I would surely rend the kingdom from thee, and I will give it to thy servant. Notwithstanding, in thy days will I do it for David thy father's sake, but I will rend it out of the hand of thy son. Howbeit, I will not rend away the kingdom, but I will give one tribe to I will give one tribe to thy son for David my servant's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake which I have chosen. And the Lord stirred up an adversary unto Solomon, Hadad the Edomite. Right? So this adversary, Hadad, was raised up unto Solomon because he sinned, because he went away from God. This is a punishment. So the kingdom was going to get rend, but not in his lifetime. But in his lifetime, Hadad the Edomite was stirred up against him. Right? Not only that, let's jump down to verse 23. And God stirred him up another adversary, Rezin, the son of Alida, which fled from his lord Hadadzer, king of Zobah. Right? Verse 25. And he was an adversary to Israel all the days of Solomon, beside the mischief Hadad did. So not only did Hadad cause mischief, also Rezin abhorred Israel and reigned over Syria. Right. So let's go look at this word for mischief real fast. Let's go to the interlinear. Let's look at this word for mischief. What did Hadad the Edomite do? He was what? Satan. He was a Satan. He was Satan to Israel. Right? Besides look at this for mischief. Look at this. Adversary, affliction, bad, calamity, displeasure, bad, evil, distress, calamity. This is what Hadad the Edomite was to King Solomon. Wretchedness, wicked, evil, harm, misery, bad, evil. This is what Hadad the Edomite was to Solomon. This is the rod is talking about. This is the rod. That's the rod. Come on, we gotta be, hey Drey, we gotta be honest, bro. You my mans, but we gotta be honest, bro.
we can't go to a text and say, okay, this is what it means when it says the rod, but in that example, that king was affected and the people were affected at that time, and then say this is what it means. And
Solomon was affected. If you causing mischief and evil and badness and wretchedness and displeasure to my kingdom, you are affecting me. But what Drey wants to see is King Solomon beat with rods and sticks and whips. That's what we want to see, but that text is not talking about that. It's talking about the rod of men. This is an army. This is a kingdom coming against your kingdom.
Solomon's time, when he wasn't affected, nor the people were affected in his time. So we will have to be fair.
It's not true. If you have Rezin and Hadad the Edomite causing mischief and havoc during Solomon's reign, how aren't the people affected? How isn't Solomon affected? Come on, we gotta be honest.
And say, okay, you know what? This is what it could imply, but how do I take that now and say this is what it meant in Solomon's time when this didn't affect Solomon that we can read, nor did it affect the people in his time?
That is not true.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it did affect his people in his time.
Okay, fair enough.
And the fact that the text clearly says that he was raised up as an enemy unto Solomon, and before that it tells you it was a result of his transgression, because it says the kingdom was rent from him. Howbeit I will not rend away all the kingdom. This was in response to his transgression, but I will give one tribe to thy son David, unto thy son for David. Okay, my servant's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, which I have chosen. And the Lord stirred up an adversary unto Solomon. So it's telling you it was directly into Solomon. So when you are a king and you have an adversary in your kingdom, that's disturbing your peace that he had that he was supposed to have.
Facts.
Okay, that is a rod of chastisement.
Facts.
Whether or not it happens directly to Solomon, it's happening to his kingdom. And
Facts.
that's the extent of what we see there. And that's what the text explicitly says. So I'm going to go with the text. And I think there's historical narrative that supports what happened in those days during Hadad.
Could you expound on some of it, Yoshi, real fast? Hold on, 1 second, Drey. 1 second, y'all. Hey, Yoshi, can you expound
let me
on
land
it?
here real quick.
Yeah, Yoshi. No, Drey, listen, Drey. I want you to expound. Hold on, done, y'all. 1 second, you all listen. Listen, let me just get this out because I'm listening to Yoshi speak.
You can't.
What is everybody? What is everybody saying? Is for? All I'm asking Yoshi, he spoke to something. Can he expound on it a little bit? I'm not interrupting. I'm interjecting. It's a difference. Read the conversation.
So wait. Just hold on. Let Drey get done. I don't know. I think then we can get you in there.
Yeah. I just wanted to hear him real fast. While you had the mic, no big deal.
I'm still waiting.
So I'm gonna finish. And I'm gonna land here.
Because it's done is after that.
Okay, so let me read this. This is by Josephus. He says, "Now there is one."
Hey, this is what I'm gonna do, right? I'm not even gonna listen to this whole conversation. This is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do right here. This is what I'm gonna do. Let's go through this real fast. Let's go through this real fast. This is what I want to do real fast. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. Right. Let's do this. No, that's not what I want. Right here. Let's do this right here. Let's do this. All right. Let's go to 2 Samuel 7. Let's do this real fast. Let's do this real fast. Here you go. My bad. Let's do this. Let's jump down to. All right, jump down to verse 12. It says, jump down to verse 12. Oh, nope, that's not what I wanted to do. All right. It says, when thy days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom. He shall build an house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. I will be his father, and he shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men and with the stripes of the children of men. Right. So what we just read here. All right, let's bring it. Let me put me back over here. What we just read right here. What we just read is the Most High telling David, that his son that come from his bowels will build an house to his name. And if he sin, he would chasten him. Right? So God is telling David this. We're going to do this. We're going to go directly to David, to David's words. We're going to go to First Chronicles. This is how you kill this whole argument. Like, we don't even have to listen to all that. We're going to go to First Chronicles chapter 28, verse 7. This is what we're going to do. We don't got to play no games. It's 7 verses. So we're going to read this. This all you got to do for this. Real simple. Because you're either going to believe what David has to say about this prophecy, about 2 Samuel 7, or you're going to call David a liar. Which one? Let's see. It says, and David assembled all the princes of Israel, and the princes of the tribes, and the captains of the companies that ministered to the king by course, and the captains over thousands, the captains over hundreds, the stewards over all the substance and possessions of the king, and of his sons with his officers, and with the mighty men, and all the valiant men unto Jerusalem. Then David the king stood up upon his feet and said, hear me, my brethren, and my people. As for me, I had in my heart to build an house for the rest of the ark of the covenant of the Lord, for the footstool of our God, and had made ready the building. So David is saying, yo, I wanted to build an ark, a home for the ark. All right. And this is the same situation, 2 Samuel 7. David was going to go build the ark. He told Nathan. Nathan said, yo, go do what's in your heart. And then God sent Nathan back, said, nah, tell him don't do it. Right, verse 3. But God said unto me, thou shalt not build an house for my name, because thou hast been a man of war, and thou hast shed blood. Right? This is what Nathan told David in 2 Samuel 7. Howbeit the Lord God of Israel chose me before all the house of my father to be king over Israel forever. For he hath chosen Judah to be the ruler. And of the house of Judah, the house of my father, and among the sons of my father, he liked me to make me king over all Israel. And all of my sons, for the Lord has given me many sons. He hath chosen Solomon, my son, to sit upon the throne of the kingdom of the Lord over Israel. So, according to 2 Samuel 7, David said, out of all his sons, Solomon was chosen to fulfill 2 Samuel 7. Verse 6. If that's not clear, let's make it more clear. He said unto me, Solomon thy son, he shall build my house and my courts. David is telling you the one that's going to build the house, the one that God told him is going to build the house and sit on the throne is Solomon. David is telling you 2 Samuel 7 is about Solomon. He said unto me, Solomon, thy son, he shall build my house and my courts. For I have chosen him to be my son, and I will be his father. If he be content to do my commandments and my judgments as this day. So David told us that it's Solomon. Solomon will be the one that he will establish his kingdom forever if he keep the laws and the judgments. Solomon is the one that God said, I will be a father and he will be my son. Solomon is the one that God said will build the house. Solomon is the one. Right? So when we go back to 2 Samuel 7, let's read it again. You're going to see this is exactly what David is talking about. Verse 12. And when thy days be fulfilled, and thou sleep with thy fathers. I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels. I will establish his kingdom. He shall build an house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. David told us this was about Solomon in 2 Chronicles 28. I will be his father, and he will be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men and with the stripes of the children of men. God told David, and David told us that this was about Solomon. So what's the argument about? If Drey want to make that argument, he's going to have to say King David is a liar. If he disagrees 2 Samuel 7 is about Solomon, he's going to have to call King David a liar. So that's why, like, I don't really have to listen to that whole thing. They're going back and forth about 2 Samuel 7. But at the end of the day, when Solomon sinned, he was chastened with the stripes of men. Right? So when we go, and Yoshi made a great point, when you go to Hosea 10, I mean, not Hosea, Isaiah, let me pull it up. Isaiah chapter 10, verse 5. Let me go there. When you go to Isaiah chapter 10, verse 5, let me put this back up here. It says, O Assyrian, the rod of my anger, and the staff in their hand is my indignation. So Assyria, the Assyrian army is called his rod. He used to punish Israel. Right? When you jump down to verse 25, it says, for yet a very little while the indignation shall cease, and where is it 25? Oh, 24. Therefore, thus said the Lord, the God, the Lord of hosts, O my people that dwell in Zion, be not afraid of the Assyrian. He shall smite thee with a rod, and he shall lift up his staff against thee after the manner of Egypt. Remember, this is talking about Zion. Who dealt in Zion? Judah. During the time, Hezekiah did not physically get touched by the Assyrians. So he's trying to make this argument, oh, you have to physically get touched. Hezekiah did not physically get touched by the Assyrians. And when he prayed, the Most High destroyed the Assyrian army. So he did not get taken in captivity. He did not get hit literally, but the rod still was lifted against Hezekiah and his kingdom. Just like the rod, this army, the Edomites, and Rezin was lifted against Solomon when he sinned. Right? So it's that simple. I'm not even gonna listen to that whole thing. I'm not gonna react to it because they just going back and forth with that. I already had that conversation with Drey, so I know his points. I know where he's gotta go. When I talked to him, he was trying to say, I know it says his enemies was lifted against him, but can you show me in the text where it actually happened? Like Drey's a good brother, but he's gonna die on that hill. I will just say, yo, did King David say this was about Solomon? You're either gonna have to agree with King David or not. So if y'all have this conversation with anybody, take them through there. Or in the conversation, we ain't gotta do all this talking. Let's go to what King David said. King David said it was about Solomon. That's it, right? But that's all I wanted to say. I wanted to discuss that. I was gonna listen to it for the whole time, but I didn't really feel like sitting through that. But shalom. Like the video, subscribe, and make sure y'all tune in to Torah After Dark. We're here every night at 8:30 discussing Torah, reading Torah, and extracting wisdom from Torah to implement it into our lives to make our walk in Torah better. All right. So all praise to the Most High. Shalom, shalom. I just wanted to make a video, drop it for y'all about something interesting. All right. Shalom. All praises to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It's Gadol HaGadol. Welcome to Torah After Dark, where scriptures meet the real world, raw and unfiltered. This isn't your typical Bible study. We're diving deep into the Torah, the prophets, and today's world, from prophecy and exile to politics, culture, and controversy. I'm Gadol HaGadol, a Black American student of the Torah, bringing straight truth with no filters, no fluff, and no fear. We stream regularly because Torah doesn't clock out. Whether it's the law of exile, prophecy breakdowns, or what's really going on in the news, we're bringing it back to the Torah. Got any questions, topics, or want to debate live? Hit the inbox or email gadolhagadol@gmail.com. Also, subscribe to the channel, like the live, and join the membership for exclusive breakdowns, biblical challenges to Christian claims, and teachings you won't hear anywhere else. This is Torah After Dark, for the people still seeking truth, even when the world turns their lights off. Let's get into it.